Shabbat Shalom. This week we begin the third book of the Torah, the book of Vayikra. But that doesn't tell the full tale of this coming Shabbat. This coming Shabbat we will read from not one, not two, but believe it or not, three separate Torahs. The first Torah will read the passage of the week, Vayikra, the first Torah portion of the third book. From the second Torah, we'll read the Rosh Chodesh reading, as this Saturday is Rosh Chodesh Nisan, which marks 2 weeks from the holiday of Passover. From the third Torah, we'll read from the book of Exodus, because this is Shabbat HaChodesh, the Shabbat of the month, which is the Shabbat that always immediately either precedes Rosh Chodesh Nisan or falls on Rosh Chodesh Nisan. But I actually want to focus on not the two special readings, but the regular old weekly reading. We begin, as I mentioned, the book of Vayikra. And the beginning of the book of Vayikra, both this week and in next week's Torah portion, are all about sacrifices. It would be easy, in this point in the narrative, to get lost. To simply say, we don't do sacrifices anymore. How could this be relevant to us today? Now, I understand some of the classical answers of, we need to focus on their attention to detail. We need to see the great kavanah, the great intention with which they worshipped, and to follow that example. But what I want to focus more on, a lesson that we can learn from the sacrificial system, and the long process of reading about the various sacrifices over these next 2 weeks, is just who could bring a sacrifice, and the beauty with which they brought it. Anybody could bring a sacrifice. We sometimes forget that just because the high priest often conducted some of the most important sacrificial services, anybody could bring an offering. And in fact, they set up a grain offering in the Torah, a very inexpensive offering that could be brought by almost anybody at any time. The only requirement the rabbis tell us is to bring whatever you can as a sacrifice, but to bring it with love and devotion to the people and to God. It's a reminder to us today, in a very different ritual world, that what we're really supposed to be doing is not counting how much we do, but rather picking one thing that appeals to us and starting there and making sure that we do that one thing with great, great intention and great beauty. Shabbat Shalom.